Good morning and welcome to our Facebook Live this morning. My name's Jenny McCormack. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator and I'm based in the market town of Brackley, which is in Northamptonshire in the UK. So welcome to my live this morning. I've decided this week it will be a week of celebration. And not the normal type of celebration, Stampin' Up celebration. And this is why. For those of you that don't know, Stampin' Up have an offer normally once a year, but now twice a year, where you can either purchase items, you can join our team, or you can place a large order and get free items from this particular brochure. So I thought what I would do this week is feature a different item from the brochure each day, and there are more than 4 products, which is what my lives are normally, 4 days a week. So what I will do is do another celebration week, perhaps in 2 weeks' time. Celebration runs until the 30th of September, and basically all you need to do is place a qualifying order, which for us here in the UK is a £45 order for products excluding post and packing. Morning, Jeanette. And you can choose one of these items absolutely free. So this is the little brochure. You can view it online on my website, or if you haven't got one in person, then just comment and I can pop one in the post together with the autumn winter catalogue. So your purchase can be from any catalogue and you can mix and match. So I'll just flip through this really quickly. You can choose this lovely bedazzling specialty paper. We have got the Penguin Playmates papers, which match the Penguin stamp set and the punch. We have this set here, which is what I'm using today, called Feels Like Home. And we have some papers beautifully penned, which goes with the hand pen suite. And these papers in black and white. So if you like colouring in, or if you like black and white, these are perfect for you. We then have Peaceful Prints, which is some designer series paper with a Christmas theme. This is a 12 by 12 pack. And then you've already seen some of these. So you've already seen the sheep, counting sheep, and you can also get the sheep dies to match with them. Now all of these are available while stocks last. It did start the beginning of August, so we're a few weeks in and there's no shortages as yet. And then we have the textures and frame stamp set that you can see there on the left hand side. With a £90 order, you could choose 2 £45 qualifying sets, or you can go on and choose a £90 qualifying set. This Summer Shadows dies goes with the matching Shaded Summer stamp set. I couldn't think of the word then. Shaded Summer stamp set, which we used a little while ago. I'll be using those later. We have Delicate Dahlias, which is a stunning stamp set with dahlias, as you can see. And then finally, if you host a party, or if you put in a large order or combine with friends for a large order, you can choose this stamp set as well, absolutely free. So the order has to be higher than 275, and you get this free In Your Words sentiment set, and that consists of 10 stamps with some fantastic sentiments. If you wanted to join our team, and it's always a great deal to join our team, not only in terms of what you get for value for money, but also the community that you join. We have great fun in our team. We're very supportive. We have a birthday club, we have regular swaps, team meetings. We're back in person soon, so it's all good stuff. If you wanted to join our team, it's £99 for your starter kit, and you get to choose £130 of any product. And if you join during Sale-A-Bration, you can also choose one of 12 complete bundles from the autumn winter mini catalogue. So these are listed here in quite small print, so I will cover those in a bit more detail at a later date. But it's a great offer. Most of those bundles are minimum of £30 and anything up to sort of £45. Okay, so that's Sale-A-Bration. So this week I thought I'd feature a different item each day, and today I'm using this cute stamp set called Feels Like Home. Morning Carol and morning Carol. I hope you're both well. A multitude of carols. So I'm using this stamp set here that's called Feels Like Home, and it has a really pretty sort of traditional cottage scene. So you've got a front door, you've got a bicycle with a basket of flowers, you've got a hanging basket and some pots and foliage here on the left hand side. It's also got a little sort of vine here and a flower pot with tulips in, and then 4 sentiments. I can't thank you enough. Your friendship feels like home to me. I'm always and forever here for you and missing you. So this is a perfect stamp set if you love colouring. You could stamp it and leave it uncoloured, absolutely. Let me show you 2 cards that I've made with this so far. One is a watercolour card and one I've done using our blends pens. Let me move that out so it's not shining at you. This one here I've done with our watercolour pencils, and that's what I thought I would do this morning. You see me using the blends pens a lot, so I thought I'd give you a bit of a change. This will also be featured in our coffee and card this week, and so the ladies will have an opportunity to do either or both techniques. I'm using shimmer white card. I've actually used it for both of this, and this is a slightly off-white card. So what I have got is our vanilla note cards and envelopes, because that's a slightly closer match. This is a piece of white card, so if you can see the difference. So it's closer to the vanilla, and it's also got a little bit of a shimmer. So what I'm going to do is I have pre-cut this dart from the die, these scalloped contours dies, this one here. So this isn't the largest one, this is the second largest, but it fits our note cards perfectly. And I'm going to stamp it and then use some watercolour pencils to colour it in. Now you can use StazOn as an ink. You can also use our Memento ink as long as it has dried before you start colouring, otherwise it can blend a little bit, it'll run a little bit. This was our one that I did with the blends pens, so very similar. I chose a lighter colour than this one, but the bike and everything I've done in the blue, and I've done some blue pots. Okay, so what I'm going to do is stamp this first so it can be drying, and then talk you through our watercolour pencils. So I hope everybody had a nice weekend. I'm using, I don't really need to use a mat, but because it's quite a fine stamp, I am going to pop a mat underneath. So this is the stamp here, and I'm going to use the Memento ink. As I say, you could use StazOn if you have that, especially for the watercolouring. So this definitely needs re-inking. No, it's transferring. It's a very fine etch stamp. I'm going to use the edges across the middle there, like so, and do the same here. You could, if you're doing a lot of these, just use the Stamparatus. That would be perfect, and then if you missed a little bit you could re-stamp it. I'm hoping that will be enough with my rather lightly ink memento pad. And I think I'm going to put this one right over to the left so I've got space for my sentiment, because it basically fills the whole height of this. There we go. Morning, Catherine. Thanks for joining us. No doubt you're watching and working. Okay, try that. Did move it just slightly, so I actually am going to re-stamp that. I think you'd get away with it actually, but let's just I could feel that I moved it with my hand. Actually, let me just grab a different ink pad. So let's try another one. See if this is got a little bit more ink in it. I must put a memento refill on my list. Okay, it's looking a bit better. So thank you all for booking, those that booked our August class in a box or class in person. That's all now closed and everything has been ordered. So it's nice to get back to in-person classes as well as keeping the class in a box going. Right, try this again. As I say, it's the other one. I think the other would be okay. Okay. So if you have ink pads that are a bit more inky, you won't need to be quite as pushing quite as hard as me. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to let that dry while I talk you through our watercolour pencils. So we have 2 packs of watercolour pencils in the catalogue. They're in the annual catalogue. And I've got a mixture, and I can assure you these are all completely mixed up. So I have 3 packs altogether. This one here has 13 in, and this one has 10 in. And they match the Stampin' Up colours. The ones that are in here are different to these, so if you buy both sets you won't get a crossover. And in terms of pricing, you can find them on page 126, and the larger pack is 15, I beg your pardon, and the smaller pack is £11.75. So it's a great way to get Stampin' Up colours into your crafting stash. So here we have some of the really almost the brights. So we've what used to be the brights. So Real Red, Calypso Coral, Pumpkin, Daffodil, Olive, and then Raspberry, Mambo, Early Espresso, Basic Grey, Basic Black, and a White. So the white is really useful for lightening areas. And then we've got the Blues, Bermuda Bay, Pacific Point. So a nice combination. And then here we have more of the deeper colours. So Cherry Cobbler, Flamingo, Cajun Craze, Crushed Curry, Granny Apple Green, Garden Green, Coastal Cabana, Balmy Blue, and then Night of Navy and Gorgeous Grape. Now, as I said, I can assure you that mine are completely all mixed up. So who knows where anything is. So all I'm going to do is just tip these out like that so I can see which ones. And they do have the names on the side. So if you're not sure, just either use the colour that's across the top there, or you can check the names along the side. So the first thing I'm going to do is some of the foliage here. I think it's a nice easy way to get started. So I've got Old Olive here, but we also have a Granny Apple Green in this set. And if you've done any watercolouring, you'll know there's lots of different things that you can do, lots of different ways you can use the pencils. You can scribble them onto a piece of acetate or block and pick up the ink from there. You can use an aqua painter or water painter, which is what I'm going to do. And I do recommend you have a cloth to hand so that you can just wipe off the colour really easily. And then I'll show you something I've done with one of my water painters. So I'm just going to go in and do some colouring here. And there's various ways. So you can come in with your pencil. This does need a bit of sharpening. And scribble some colour like so. And then bring in your water painter and just move that colour around. We move that out of the way before I get it. You can also pick up some watercolour from here directly from your pencil and paint with that. And obviously you can sort of mix and match, so I might add in a little bit of yellow, for example. So it's really your choice on how you want to colour this in. And the nice thing about this particular stamp set is, apart from really the, you know, the sort of door, is everything else, well, even the door really, is it's quite easy just to add in a bit of colour because the work has been done for you with the stamp. So let's just add a little bit of water in there. So you do want to use watercolour paper or shimmer white paper, which is what I'm doing here, because this has a coating that allows the water to soak in without buckling. If you did this on normal cardstock, it will begin to buckle as the water gets absorbed. Let's choose a bit of Granny Apple. There we go. So you've got 3 greens all together. And I'm just going to do it in here. So I really do need to sharpen these. But just to get some colour down. Going to do that. Now if you're changing colour, have a cloth or a kitchen roll to hand. There we go. So I've got 2 colours going on. Now if you're changing colour, then I would either let that dry, or you could use a cloth or a bit of paper just to pat it down to make sure there's no excess water, because with watercolour it will basically, you know, work its way. If it sees water, it will work its way through, the colour will get through. If you're doing a large area, one of the things that I do, which is a bit of a cheat but it works really well, is I take one of my water painters and I add ink refill to it with the water. Now what I do is, because I do a lot of foliage, is I keep one with green the whole time. And that means all I need to do, if I've got a green area to cover, squeeze the water out, is I can literally just take my water painter and go straight in. So this is not strictly watercolouring, but we've used an ink refill to drop a couple of drops in here. So it means all of the time I've got something really quick and easy for foliage. Now I wouldn't recommend, unless you're doing a lot of this, to have one, you know, for each colour. But because I use green a lot, and I think I would probably do the same potentially with a pale blue, then it means you've got colour at the ready for doing a larger area. So that's sort of a little cheats version of watercolouring. So I keep this with the green in the whole time. Okay, right, let me just check on any comments before I carry on. So how many of you, I wonder, do watercolouring on a regular basis, or whether you stick to blends, pens? Let's have a look. I do like watercolouring, it's very therapeutic. Right, let me have a look, see. Oh, Kerry, so I'm using shimmer white cardstock. Morning, Jill. Morning, Heather. And Kerry and Catherine, we'd said we'd caught up with already. So yeah, shimmer white or watercolour card. That's the best thing. So let's add a little bit of colour in with these flowers. So I think I might add in a little bit of Gorgeous Grape. I keep taking my glasses off. So I'm just going to add this in a few places. So again, if you wanted to, you could pick up, let's get rid of the green, a bit of that colour directly from the pencil, okay, and add it in. Now this is quite a fine drawing, so I'm not actually being particular in what is a leaf and what is foliage. I'm just literally just adding in a touch here and there. So this is Gorgeous Grape. Just adding a little bit in here, like that. Okay, and then just remember to clean that off on a cloth. I tend to use a cloth rather than kitchen paper, just to save the environment a little bit. Okay, so this was my watercoloured version. So I've got the baskets that I can do, and the door, and obviously this stone, and I could take the colour right the way out to the end, which I think I might do for this one. On this one here, I stopped the colour, and if you can see that, just sort of around the edge. And in fact, on these, I stamped and coloured and then die cut them. So I'm going to, this one's slightly different to that. So let's do the baskets, and let's have a brown for that. Oops. So I've got, oh, crushed curry is quite a nice deep brown, yellowy brown. There we go. Do this basket as well, and obviously you could do these all different colours, like so. And I'll do one of the pots with this, and then the others I'll do in Cajun Craze to look like terracotta. Or, as I can see it, let's do Calypso Coral. So where it's a small area, you could just pick up that colour from there. Okay, so one of the other things you can do, which I'll show you with the door, is apply the coat and then give it a wash over. A little bit darker. There we go. Just remember to clean your brush off in between. So this is so we have water painters in our catalogue, but you could easily use just a paintbrush and a little pot of water. Just make sure your pot is nice and stable so you don't knock it everywhere. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is the door next. So what colour front door shall we have? And here I've had a brown one. I don't know what that was actually. Might have been espresso. No, I don't think this is espresso around the edges. So I think it was Cajun Craze. Could have a yellow front door. What do you reckon? Vote for a colour for my front door, please, while I have a sip of my coffee. Okay, that's interesting that so many of you don't do watercolouring. Yeah, Kerry says yellow. That's a good plan. So I think it's one of those, it was a bit like using the blends pens, to be honest. You just need a little bit of practice. And with this stamp set, it's really good because it's got a lot of shading in it for you. So there's a lot of detail, but when you come to the watercolouring, you only need a little bit. Does that make sense? Because the detail's already in the stamp. So we've got Daffodil Delight here. So we're going to go for a yellow front door. Coffee's nearly cold. Okay, so what I'm going to do for this is just grab a scrapbook card. There we go. So I'm just going to lay down some colour. Like so. That across there, down the side. And then just going to add a little bit more on these panels here, like so. I can take my water brush and just make sure there's plenty of water, and then just blend this in, spread that colour around like so. Okay. And then you can go back in with some more colour if you wish. For those panels. Okay. There we go. I'm going to add a little bit of blue, very light balmy blue, across where the windows are. I've got Bermuda Bay. Must be in this one. No. There it is. No, Bermuda Bay. Okay, Balmy Blue's done a runner. It has. Oh no, it's there. So that doesn't look like Balmy Blue, does it? Let's have a look, see. Okay. So just doing a very light addition in here. Again, make sure my brush is clean in between. As I say, you can use a paintbrush for that. So that's that there. And then let's do the brick wall. Let's see. So this is early espresso. So I'm just adding that in there. So, and this one here can just come straight out as well. So if you have got some watercolour pencils, just challenge yourself to give it a go. Something there. It's just a slightly different look. So I'm taking this one a bit further over. Like so. And because you're only applying water where your brush is going, you don't get so much, you'll get a little bit of bleeding if you go over, but not a huge amount. Unless you've got a large amount of ink there. So what I'm actually going to do is bring this right the way over so that it's sort of within the confines of this die cup. There we go. And obviously you can also use inks to do this. So just if you haven't got the watercolour that you want, you could pop a little bit of ink onto a block and then pick up the colour from there. That would be another way to do it. So just blending that in a little bit there. So we've got a little bit of stone detail. And like this one here, I'm actually going to cut out and put my sentiment on the top. There we go. And if I want to add in a little bit more detailed colour, I can do it like that. Okay, so just going to do this brickwork around here and a little bit of detail for the bicycle, and we're done. Let's have a look. Hi Scott, hi Claire, hi Katie. Oh, bye Carol. Oh, so Carol, yes, has done watercolour pencils is great, I have to say. Hi Dee. So there's plenty of good tutorials for watercolouring on YouTube. They don't have to be Stampin' Up because the principle is exactly the same. So let's do a little area around this door here. So I'm just going to choose another brown. So I've got espresso. Got this one here, which is that's a bit I don't want. Cajun Craze, that's what I'm after. Okay, so this one's a bit sharper, so that's good. So I'm just going to add in a little bit here. And then down this side, and then I'm just going to use the brush to move that colour down. There we go. There. Got a hair. So you can just see how you get that blended effect. So I'll say I'll be using this stamp for Coffee and Card Friday, and there'll be a choice of techniques to colour it in. So if you're not keen on watercolour, you don't have to do that. You can just use our blends pens. I'm certainly not a watercolour expert. I do like doing it. I'm not an expert in any shape or form. Right, just going to do this bit across here, and I think I want some sort of grey. So I've got a basic grey here. So I'm just going to add in a little bit there. So in terms of ink, you can't use our standard Stampin' Up inks for this. It has to be either Memento, which you allow to dry, an archival ink if you have one, or StazOn ink. Okay. Let's blend that in. Like so. So, and then finally just going to do a little bit of detail on the bike. Let's just do a little bit of blue here, here. It's very fine, so I'm literally just drawing a line where that would be stand. There we go. So when you buy our water brushes, our water painters, they come as a set of 3. You get a fine tip, a medium tip, and a really broad tip, which is perfect for doing a background area. There we go. I think I'm going to leave it like that. So one thing I need to do before Friday is sharpen my pencils. Normally I keep my pencil sharpener in my box here. So So I'll have to locate that. Okay, so I'm just going to stamp a little sentiment and cut that out. I've got some scraps of shimmer white, and I've just got this one here, Beauty of Friendship. I just like that little hello that's in there. So that's the one I'm going to use. This actually is the one that I've matched for this month's class. So let's just stamp that, and I'm just going to cut it and then mount it onto card. So just light tapping, it's a small stamp. And a pair of scissors. Large, a bit large really. This would make a nice retirement card, new home card. And a little hello there. I'm going to pop that up on dimensionals. And then choose a layer to pop behind it. Now I have cut some coloured card the size of note cards, which is what I've done here. So I'll see if I've got one that's a suitable colour. Oh, that one went. So like the sheep stamps, this is one that you can get for free. And every day this week I'll be featuring a different celebration item. Okay. So just going to pop that in there. It looks straight to you. There we go. So let's see if I've got a base that I could use that's the right colour. It either wants to be blue for the bike, or I've got crumb cake, that might look quite nice. Crumb cake is too light. What do you reckon? Will that do the job? Only that I can use a layer on top of the vanilla card. Let's get my card out. Here's one. Daffodil to match the front door. Let's see, or early espresso. Okay, so early espresso or straight onto the blue, what do you reckon? Kerry says blue card. Yes, I think I agree with you. Sets off the bicycle, doesn't it? Hello, Michelle. Heather says early espresso. Da, da, da. Jeanette says blue. Let's have a look at this again. So that's the early espresso with vanilla, or straight onto the blue. Da, da. I'm going to do the early espresso, and the only reason why, actually I've got two reasons. One is it's different from this one, and two, in the stamp set is a sweet little pot, and I want to stamp the pot inside. So let me find the stamp set again. It's got this little pot here of tulips, and I wanted to pop that inside. It's very cute. So let's do that quickly. Bum, bum. And then I can watercolour it. Got that. And then I can just colour that in really quickly. Let's use my ready to go green for the leaves. It really is a time saver having a pen with green in, I have to say. There we go. And let's use a little bit of espresso for the pot. Like so. And it's going to have some yellow tulips. There we go. That's it. Okay, so that's our inside, and I'll just layer these up. And that's it for today. So just a layer of wet glue on there. So this is the die cut. This is going onto a piece that is, let's take that off, 3¼ inches by 4 3/4, and that will go onto our note card, which is 3½ by 5. And there, like so. Thank you, Jeanette. There we are. That's it. There we are. So we have our watercoloured version of this stamp set called Feels Like Home. And so it's another free stamp set when you order £45 or more from any of our current catalogues. There we go. So thank you for joining me, ladies and gents. Nice to have you join me on a Monday morning. It's time to replace my coffee with a fresh cup and crack on with what I have in store for the day. Let me bring that up so you can see it in a little bit more detail. So there we go. So that's watercolour, this one's watercolour, and this is blends pens. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Have a good morning, afternoon or evening, depending on when you're watching. I will see some of you this afternoon for Coffee and Card, where we're doing the Delivering Cheer stamp set. That went down really well on Friday. Everybody really loved it. So looking forward to sharing that with you this afternoon at Coffee and Card in person in Toaster. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Look after yourselves. Look after your loved ones. I'll be back tomorrow, Tuesday at 7 p.m. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.